So hi everyone, I'm here with Jennifer from the Eczema Company, and she is the owner and founder of the Eczema Company. She is going to talk with us today about wet wrapping, what it is, and how it can be beneficial for your skin as well. Now, wet wrapping is good for both babies, kids, and adults. If I'm correct, Jennifer, feel free to correct me, but I'll let Jennifer talk more about it.
Sure. So wet wrapping is a really, really effective treatment when you just need intense moisture relief quickly. It's not meant as a long-term treatment. It can actually dry out the skin long-term, but when used for a couple days in a row, it can provide what I call mini miracles because it really, really heals up the skin quickly. But if you have something going on internally or an external trigger that you haven't identified, once you stop the wet wrapping, the eczema will come back. So it is just for short-term relief, but it's very, very effective. And we used to do it quite a bit with my son when we had eczema crisis and things were really bad and his skin was really flared up. We would definitely do wet wrapping. So what wet wrapping is, it consists of soaking the skin in the water for an extended period of time and then sealing the skin with moisture for a longer period of time. So the first step is to soak in bath water, lukewarm temperature, for 20 minutes. And you can add an oil to the bath. It can be really nice if you do that, but never add any soap. Salts or anything like that might dry out the skin long term. So for just this type of treatment for wet wrapping. So oil again is okay. You can just use plain water, but absolutely zero soap in the water for this treatment. Second step is you get out of the bath, you towel dry very gently, and you apply a really good heavy cream or balm. We like to use the Manuka Honey Skin Cream. And you don't apply any topical medication unless prescribed by a doctor, because for wet wrapping, anything you use is intensified. So the steroids could become even stronger and could be potentially dangerous. So always speak with your doctor before using any sort of topical medication. But any sort of cream or balm is really good and effective for wet wrapping. And I'll apply it very liberally on the skin that's still slightly damp. So step 3 is to take a layer of clothing that's very form-fitting and you put it in warm water and you dampen it. You take it, you wring it out, so it's not dripping wet, just damp. And again, it's lukewarm water. And we like to use the Wrappy Soothe garments by AD Rescue Wear. They're really nice. They're made from Tencel, which is a really good fabric for eczema. It's eucalyptus fiber, so it's cooling and soft and really good. But you can use plain cotton clothing as well. The key is that it's form-fitting because you want it to sit like a second skin on the skin. And you can cover, the important thing too is also you're going to cover the parts of the body where you need to treat the skin. If you only have a patch of eczema on your elbow, you're not going to wear a full bodysuit of damp clothing. You could cut a cotton tube sock and apply it there. Or we have the Wrappy Soothe garments. There's sleeves that you can use for like the elbow or behind the knees and things like that. So there's small sections of fabric. So next step is step 4 is going to be to cover that layer. So you put the damp layer of clothing on top of the skin, and then you're going to cover it with a layer of larger fitting clothing on top that's dry. So you have your damp layer that's tight fitting, and now you have your second layer of clothing that's a little larger that sits on top to cover the damp clothing. You can use cotton or bamboo, which are the best fabrics for this, but you're going to need clothing that's just a little bit bigger. Step 5 is to leave these 2 layers of clothing as is for at least 2 hours or overnight. And if you do it overnight, you just have to make sure that the damp layer does not dry out. If it dries out, it could cause the opposite effect. So it could actually harm the skin. You want to make sure that the wet layer stays wet because it's creating extra moisture and locking everything in. The trick to the overnight is, we never did the overnight because I was always scared it was going to dry out. We did like 2 or 3 times wet wrapping during the day. We'd cycle it. So we'd do one session and then cream them up, let them relax for an hour, then do it again and again. So we did 2 to 3 sessions of wet wrapping during a day instead of at night because I was always afraid it was going to dry out. But the tip to the drying out is, to not letting it dry out, is you take a water bottle and or like a spray bottle, and in the night you can lift up the clothes, and while they're sleeping, you can kind of spray and re-dampen the clothing if you'd like. But our house, especially in the winter, was really, really dry with the heaters, and it didn't work for us. But if you can do the overnight, it's really good for the skin if you can keep it damp. Step number 6 is to remove the clothing, all of it, and add another layer of the same cream or balm that you used in the first couple steps, and then dress as usual. So you're just applying another layer of moisture and then carrying on throughout your day. At that point, the session is over. And then, like I said, step number 7 is to repeat the process if you'd like, and you can do it a few times a day or each night for a few days, maybe 2 to 3 days at the most. You don't want to keep doing it. As I mentioned, it can over dry the skin at some point. It turns around. We experienced that the hard way. We did it for, oh gosh, I don't remember, like 4 or 5 times days in a row, and it was too much. So you don't want to do that, and you do want to look at internal healing to figure out what's going on with the body. This is a great external relief when you need it as an emergency treatment, but it is not a permanent ongoing treatment. But wet wrapping can work wonders, so I definitely recommend you try it. And always be careful too if you have infections. You want to watch it because it can either go either way with infections. It could increase an infection and make it worse. It could help. So you just need to keep an eye on it and take note of any negative changes in the skin for sure.
And is it a good treatment that's safe for babies as well?
Yes, safe for babies, but again, with infections, especially with little ones, you need to be really, really careful. So if you're nervous at all about a baby maybe that has an infection and doing wet wrapping, definitely speak with your dermatologist. All dermatologists are familiar with wet wrapping, so they can definitely help you with that.
That's great. Super helpful.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Yes, thank you.